Hey everybody, it's Josh with BlockRoots. Welcome to the channel. On behalf of Kenner and Clark, we just want to say welcome. If you've not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so below. You just click the red button. It's really easy. It says subscribe. You're going to get notifications from us each and every week when we put out new videos. Kenner and Clark's going to put out a new video as well this week. And with that said, we'll also put you in a $100 Bitcoin giveaway for anybody who engages in our videos each and every week. So again, thanks for your support. If you are a medical worker or know somebody who's a medical worker, we just want to say thank you for everything that's going on in the world lately with COVID-19. Again, my wife is a nurse. My best friend is an ER doc, and I do hear about that each and every week. So I do know about that, and we just want to say thanks. Thanks for putting yourself out there. Thanks for giving back to the world. And it really takes a special somebody to put their heart and soul in the medical field each and every day. And we're just really thankful for it. So that really hits home for me. And I think, I want to go ahead and talk about, the situation that I'm in on Twitter right now. So if you follow me on Twitter, if you haven't seen, I've actually been shadow banned. And what that means is I can go ahead and show you guys is that whenever you get notifications or whenever I put content up, you should get notifications, but you're not getting notifications because Twitter has censored me or silenced me at the moment. And then also, too, all my replies are hidden. It says that they're not available. Sometimes you can see them, but with that said, I'm not getting as near as engagement. But you can actually go on my profile page, my account page, and look at everything. So you can see it on there. You're just not seeing notifications, and you're just not seeing replies or alerts, okay? And why that is, again, is that with my wife being a nurse and friend being a doctor, I just was a little bit more somewhat outspoken about COVID-19, just telling people to be careful, be aware of it, take care of yourself, social distance. And that was just my opinion. And I guess Twitter, for some reason, thought that I was giving false information. They're doing a great job. I can't blame Twitter. They're just trying to make sure that people are safe. And so I think their algos caught me, thought that I was some type of person giving bad information. And so at the same time, just giving updates from my wife and my best friend, they flagged me. So I'm still on Twitter. I'm still there, but just know that you're not getting notifications from me. If you also want to get notifications, feel free to follow me on Telegram, t.me/Josh Rager, or youtube.com here at BlockRoots. So that's why it's important for you to subscribe to the channel. That way you can get notifications from me, Kenner and Clark. Kenner and Clark has not been impacted by this, so you can still see all his stuff on Twitter. So just a heads up on that. Make sure to check out my page. If you don't follow me on Twitter, feel free to do so, and we'll go ahead and talk about the market. By the way, if you have not yet seen Phemex.trade, we recommend that you check it out. Gold has been on a tear lately. Gold, just ever since the Fed said, hey, we're going to print as much money as we want, people are a little bit scared because the economy is kind of shaky. So with that said, physical gold has skyrocketed in this past day or two. And so you can actually trade gold on Phemex. There's really no other platform that you're going to be able to trade gold at like this along with your Bitcoin. So Phemex.trade, you can trade gold. Link, if you're a Chainlink fan, if you're a Tezos fan, if you're a Litecoin, Ethereum, or Bitcoin fan, 3,000 transactions per second. We do partner with Phemex.trade. So again, anytime that you sign up with our link, if you go to Phemex.trade, you support the channel, and we'll continue to give you guys a lot of good information and good content on the market, which is what we're about to do. I just wanted to talk about Phemex here. This chart is just insane. And so I think eventually if there's news with gold, that the economy is stabilized again, that this price of gold is just going to just dump right back down. So again, anything that goes up must come down. Anything that pumps like that tends to come back down. It might not come back down for a while. It could be days, it could be weeks, but just keep your eye on gold. If you want to trade it, you can trade it on Phemex, which is really cool. So just a heads up on that. So let's go ahead. We'll talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin's really, in the end, it's doing quite well, right? I mean, ever since the lows, I think it's about, what is it, from low to the high? It's like 97%, 90 something percent, okay, since the balance at 3,700 after this capitulation here. So I want to talk about that. And really, even before I talk about that, let's look at the SPX, or this S&P 500, and what the S&P 500, of course, the stock index here. It's really important to look at this, okay? And so if you're not aware, and I've said this on a tweet, and you can actually find this on coinmetrics.io, Okay, here it is, Coinmetrics.io. And what you're going to notice, I'm going to go ahead and show this close, is that this is the correlation between the S&P 500, the stock market, and the Bitcoin, okay? Now, typically, there's not really a correlation, okay? But ever since the dump, there has been a correlation, meaning that a moderate correlation, not a one-to-one correlation, okay? Like a 0.6 to a 0.45, which is moderate, meaning that if something was one-to-one correlated, it would move exactly with it. So if the S&P 500 moved up, I mean, Bitcoin would just follow it exactly. And it hasn't really been like that. If the S&P is trending up, we see that Bitcoin also trends up with it. If the S&P dumps, we notice that Bitcoin dumps with it. It's very similar. And so also too with the S&P futures with the ES chart. So just know that there's a moderate correlation. And again, of course, if something's negative correlated, if something moves one way, then of course the other asset does the other thing. But with Bitcoin here, we see a moderate correlation. There's not quite a decoupling yet, and Ryan did talk about that in a previous video. And so just know that any major moves on higher time frames when it comes to the S&P 500, you're going to see Bitcoin be impacted by that, okay? And so people were even talking about today, well, stocks were really high up today and Bitcoin didn't do so well. It kind of went sideways or dumped, and it certainly didn't dump. And you have to look at this, again, as a high time frame. You have to look at it more than just a couple of hours. And then over the past 24 hours at 1 o'clock Eastern time, I said, look, at this time, the S&P 500 is up 7.5%, and then Bitcoin is up 5.5%. So again, not an identical correlation, but a similar trend overall that you see there in the markets, okay? And so why do I even bring this up? Why do I bring up the stock market here? Because it had a heck of a good day. It hasn't had 2 green days back to back for a while, for 3 weeks. So just be aware of that. Don't know if tomorrow is going to be red or not. A lot of people seem to be preparing to short it. And again, everything just can't go straight down and everything just can't go straight up. It's got to have some green days too. That's just how markets work. But with the correlation, somewhat correlation here with the stocks, if the price of stocks pull back strongly, then Bitcoin's going to pull back strong, okay? That's just matter of fact. That's how it's been going until we see otherwise. Again, Coinmetrics.io, you can see the correlation patterns here. And again, Bitcoin and the S&P 500 have been correlated. You can notice it right above here. So go there, check that out. That's really cool. The stock market has done pretty well. And for Bitcoin, currently where we're at is it's basically kind of in an uptrend, okay? So higher highs and higher lows, and that's where we're at, okay? Now, Ryan was talking about this on a BlockRoots video. If you're not a member of BlockRoots.com, feel free to join. It's affordable. We've got a line of great members in there, and then there's weekly updates that we give. And this was a private video that we just talked about the current Bitcoin market. And really what it comes down to is that we were looking at the similar pattern that we've seen since the high at above 13,000, okay? And so this is not the first time we've seen Bitcoin drop like this. Yes, this was a black swan event, but in the end, we've seen Bitcoin from up here around 10,000 drop down to under 8,000, have a range, right, develop, price pump, come back down again, another range form, right, and then price come back up, and of course, we know what happens from there. Price dropped pretty significantly from there. But this is the important thing, okay? Specifically with the previous range in the previous run up to 10K, and I'll go ahead and put the range, okay? What you're going to notice, right, is that we had a range, and each range is getting longer, but we expect, again, prices being going up pretty substantially. There's probably going to be another potential pullback, okay? What's going to make us long and what's going to make us want to go short? Well, overall, if you want to know what's going to make us want to go long, is really just the ability to hold the previous range. Now, if you look at this range right here, okay, look what happened right here, right? Price moved up above this range, retested it, and continued to move on up. Now, when it came back down, notice for 3 days, price held this range before dumping. Now, prior to that, it's the same thing, right? This range right here acted as the support after price broke up. And so if I draw it out here, notice this is the bottom of the previous range. Well, price held that, right? And so it's the same thing here. we're looking at the previous range right here. We want price to move up into this range, hold this range for more than just a day, and continue to move on up. That's what's going to make us long. That is, again, is if the stock market has bottom, if it goes sideways, or if it continues to move on up from here. If the stock market pulls back, a lot of this stuff right here, TA, you can kind of throw some of this out the window, because if stocks sell off, naturally big players are going to sell off their Bitcoin as well to get into cash if that's the case. So getting rid of all this stuff, we do want to see price establish a range above 6,900. Now, what we've noticed so far, price has just tapped up into this area, right, and has moved back down. We want to see price go above it, potentially on higher time frames, more than just a day. Like I said, if a weekly closes above this area, that would be even better. Now, also, too, if we turn on the volume profile, and so what are we looking at here? You're going to notice that the point of control, right, the price level with the highest amount of volume, which tends to act as a support and resistance, is around 7,200, 7,218. That is right in the center of this range right here, from 6,900 all the way up to, okay, around 7,800, give or take, okay? It's not right in the center of that, but again, more or less, this is towards the middle of this range. So these are the levels that we want to watch. Okay. Now, if you're looking to short, if you're somebody who wants to short, a lot of price action people right now are actually waiting for price to sweep above this recent high of around 90, I think 69, 40 something, and then to move back down. What I want to see is potentially for price to move up here and probably bounce off this POC and then move back down. Okay, that would be definitely a potential short here. Now, a lot of people have been talking about putting shorts or ask right above the 6,900 level. Again, if you're, if everybody's if it's a well-known trade and everybody knows about it, it's not as likely to happen. So for me, I'm being a little bit more careful, a little bit more conservative, and I'm actually moving up to around 7,200, okay, over 7,100 for sure, and I'm actually putting a couple of more above that, okay, so below 7,400, between 71 to 7,400, I'm just kind of staggering my ask or my trades up that way. Again, we can move up as high as the top of this range right here, which is close to 7,800. We could potentially, right? I think the important thing to know is whatever happens, it's going to happen quick, okay? So much like this area down here, right? This was only down here for a few minutes, okay? Less than 15 minutes, I think. The price was down here, it wicked down to, 3,700 or below, depending on which exchange you're at, and shot right back up, okay? I actually was lucky enough to get in along around 3,700 after being stopped out multiple times, mind you. It took a few trades to be able to get in there without getting stopped out. But it's very difficult. So the same thing with this, I foresee the same thing happen. If price moves above here, it's not going to be very long up here because they don't want everybody to get in this trade. The whole point of making money in the market, especially if you're a big player, is to be able to take that liquidity in order to get people stopped out, take that, and then short, right? If you're going short here. But the point being is if it's an easy trade, then it kind of scares me a little bit. So I do expect price to move up and then push back down. So if everybody is, again, short around 6,900 to 7,100 at the yearly high, well, I mean, either price can go below that and be front run, or price can go above that and then probably stop out a lot of those people and then move back down. And that, I think, again, with the amount of the lack of liquidity in this market right now, Bitcoin price can be pushed rather easily. So I do foresee price being potentially to be pushed up in the mid 7,000s. Okay, that is just one thing that I'm looking for. You have to be very careful if you're using high leverage, because if price gets pushed up to mid 7,000s and you're trying to enter down here at 7,000, 7,100, then you're going to get stopped out or potentially liquidated depending on how much leverage you use. And again, we want you to be very careful with that. If you are a trader, you should know better. So close up, let's just kind of look at a couple more things really quick before we sign off for the day. Really, in this range, what we're doing is we're taking it level by level. And the smartest thing to do is to establish support areas if you're looking to short or long, longing those retests, shorting those retests as well. So the current support area okay, for this current area is around 6,600, okay? You can see by the high volume nodes over here as well that this is an area that is, and of course, multiple hours being held there. This is an area that's acting as support, okay? So again, if you're looking to long, one thing you can do is see if price come back down here, and if it holds, then you long there, and then of course, as price moves up, you take your profits up here around over 7,000. Now, if you're looking to short, all you do is you just do the opposite. You wait till price breaks below this, comes back up to retest and see if it holds, and then it will likely move on down. And so from there, you just go to the next plausible area, right? And so this area right here, right, has held pretty well around this high volume node, right? So around 6,200 or so, I mean, give or take. These are ranges, right? They're not exact points, but you've got 6,600, and then we'll watch to see if 6,200 holds. And then from here, right, this support area, which has held for multiple hours, right? So around 5,800, and then from there, you just move on down. So for me, what I'm doing is if I'm looking at the point of control, which is down here around 5,300, right? If I'm short and price is moving down, this is definitely, look how long this lasted, okay? So if you're a trader, or if you don't know as far as where price bounce going to be, price is very likely going to bounce in this area. This is because if you look at this from, when is this? Well, this held as resistance shortly, but from like the 13th all the way to the 18th, this was a major area as far as support and resistance and price holding. And that was the last place that it held before it moved up. Okay, so again, if you're looking at a place for it to bounce, I would probably likely look at around 5,300, 5,285, whatever the point of control is right here. That's where I'm going to be looking at potentially taking profits on a short. Okay, and from there, we don't know. But all you can do is really, in the end, is take this level by level, watching support and resistance areas, watching the high volume nodes, and just seeing how price does and seeing how the stock market does. And that's really what we want you to do, is that we do believe that this is going to be a little bit longer to range. We don't think it's just going to V-bottom back up and just keep going back up. Now, it possibly could, but again, you want to make sure that price holds above 7,000, as we talked about earlier, okay? So again, looking at those potential ranges, to follow it up again, price needs to break above these areas and sustain above these areas if we want to price to continue to move on up. And if it can't do that, it can't do that. In the end, it is what it is. But if you're a trader, you take it day by day, not to worry. If you're a Bitcoin holder, you believe in Bitcoin long-term anyway, it's probably not a big worry to you. You're probably super excited anyways about buying the dip. So with that said, that was just a quick market update. If you've not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure to do that below. Click subscribe. Make sure you're taking a look at the S&P 500 tomorrow. Keep an eye on that as well. Keep an eye on the news and see, again, stimulus, unemployment, any of that stuff is bullish or bearish. Ryan is going to come out with another video in the next couple of days, so be on the lookout for that. And with that said, you guys make sure to trade effectively and trade safe. We hope that you're healthy. And again, we appreciate you guys, your support and community, and we look forward to talking to you soon. All right, take care.